Hello everyone, it is RosinQuartz here, and welcome to another speed build. And I'm really excited to share this speed build with you because it's super cute. It is a super cute build that I have done. There is a little bit of cuts, a little bit here in the beginning that's a little awkward, and for that I apologize. That's just simply because I fiddled with the roofs for a period of time, but yeah, so this sort of farmhouse was kind of based off of a lot of farmhouses that are near me. So I don't know what I'm going to title this in the end, but I know my initial title is like Canadian Farmhouse, but I have a few other ideas. But the reason why I specifically call this one like Canadian is simply because of the fact that, like, I don't know, I see these farmhouses, like, there's a ton of these farmhouses near my house. A lot of them aren't cute like this. A lot of them are either are completely original, so they've got all the original brick and they look kind of old, and so there's like the maintained ones and then the non-maintained ones, and then you've got the ones that have been completely renovated, and basically they've got, you know, the white and black trim, and they don't look as much like a classical farmhouse anymore. But this one's a little bit different simply because of the fact that I use like a bright green paneling, and you know, there's a little bit more character to this build, and not that other farmhouses don't have character, but in particular with this one, it's very cute, it's very fanciful, and I think that's really why I really love this build. I think it's super cute, I think it's super fun, and I just had a really good time making it. Like, I wanted to actually really make it look like a traditional farmhouse, and this is where you see me do the brick, because I wanted to do the traditional brick, but then I saw that that blah 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 that bright green paneling, and I went, I have to use this. I have to use the bright green paneling because I would be crazy not to. I'm sure that's not everyone's cup of tea, but I did it anyways. And so you see me fiddling around in the corner there because for some reason the paneling just doesn't work out. I don't know how to fix that. I know it has to do with like rooms, but I just left it because I didn't know how to fix it. And so I moved all of the windows up just because they were a little bit too low, and it makes things look a little bit more even. Then I have that little like back attachment thing, because most of these farmhouses have been renovated, and a lot of them have like a lot of additions onto the back. A lot of these like particular kinds of farmhouses, at least the ones that are near me, they don't have additions off to the sides, they have the additions on the back, because the traditional home, this 100-year-old home, is that's supposed to be the I guess like centerpiece of it, and so you don't want to see all the additions on the side, so a lot of the times they move out backwards. And that has a lot to do with the fact that this is farm property as well, so you've got these sort of like really skinny lots, and so there's a lot of ways to expand backwards, but not a lot to expand left to right, if you know what I mean. I don't know how to explain it in a way that people from other countries might know, because I think Canada has the luxury of having a lot of open space and stuff like that. But I think one of the exceptions with this particular farmhouse is the fact that I put fencing all around. A lot of farmhouses, at least the ones near me, they do not have any fencing, mostly because, you know, there's a few acres between each house. Usually there's like at least like two solid like farm, like, how do you call it, like farming land between, you know, like it's there's not this like idea of like neighbors, so you don't really need fencing. I think the only time people have like fencing is they do if they're fancy and they want to have fencing. But a lot of the times with these like older farmhouses, people just don't worry about that sort of stuff. But that's also the Canadian mentality too. Like not really in like southern parts of Canada, but I know like in northern parts it's very like, you know, everyone's your neighbor kind of thing. And yeah, so that's kind of like, I was trying to go for a very traditional vibe with this. I wasn't trying to go too storybook like. I wasn't trying to do anything that didn't seem like you know, like a real house wouldn't have. Like, obviously the outside is a little bit more fanciful than the interior, but the interior I was definitely getting an actual house kind of feel, and I really wanted to have that. And this time I did something a little bit different. I did actually this little like overhanging thing over the entrance because I didn't really like having a gate, and so I did that, and I thought it looked kind of cute. I was unsure if I liked it or not, to be honest. I think I do like it, but I think there's a part of me that goes, maybe I should have put plants over top of it or something to have it seem like it's hanging down, but I decided not to do it because I honestly just didn't want to fiddle with it. But if you ever want to give that a shot, just go for it. But yeah, so there's this like cute little like entranceway. I love the exterior of this build. I think it's absolutely the cutest thing ever, and I think out of all the builds I've done, I think this one is kind of my more like cuter one. I think my more I don't know how to describe it. I love the exterior of this house, and I was so happy that I actually did it because a lot of the times I get a lot of my inspiration from the houses that are in my town and near my house and stuff like that. Like, I've actually been considering doing a build of my own house, just because I live in an old farmhouse and it has its problems. For example, it is freezing during the winter. Yay, plaster walls! But, oh my goodness, it's so cold here in the winter. But, no, I think, like, I want to do it when I feel up for it. I'm thinking maybe, like, if I ever hit, like, another milestone or something like that, I might do that. Or like maybe do like a cast of me or something like that, but that's far off into the future. Right now we are building a farmhouse. But yeah, this is actually based off, like I said, a mix of like farmhouses that I've seen near my house. There's actually a farmhouse that is basically, I always admire it across the many farm fields between us. Like, I'll be in my my very backyard near, and I'll kind of walk my dog like along the edges of the fields and stuff like that. And there's like 2 fields over across the road, there's this absolutely gorgeous farmhouse. It's like this like black and white kind of farmhouse. I think it's actually like a business versus someone's actual house, but it's super nice, and I actually always look at it all the time. And I'm too far away to actually like build it myself. They have like all these like trees surrounding it to give themselves privacy. That's the Canadian fencing, by the way. Tons of trees. But yeah, so I kind of like with the interior with this particular house, I just wanted to go standard house, you know. I wanted to have something kind of cute, but something kind of functional, and I think that I put in like a nursery, and I put in a master bedroom with, I was able to even actually fit in a master bath as well, which I was really surprised by. I didn't expect to be able to fit a master bath in, mostly because I looked up at the upstairs and I was like, man, this is like a 1-bedroom kind of area, but then I divided it all out, and I was like, no, there's actually a lot of space in here, which was kind of surprising. But I think it does actually look a lot like a farmhouse. Like I watch a lot of like Love It or List It, and and that is a Canadian show. It's set in Toronto, and they've done a few they've done a few farmhouses, and a lot of them are very similar to this, though sometimes it kind of depends where their staircase is and where their fireplace is. And I was able to fit a fireplace in this house because it's not a farmhouse unless if it doesn't have a fireplace. I wish they actually had, you know how in the Sims 3 you have those old like Victorian fireplaces, the ones where you have like the pipes that go through your rooms, and it kind of has, you have to like restructure your house every time you like put a fireplace in. I really wish we had one of those wood burning stoves in The Sims 4, just because I love them so much. Like I do love these fireplaces, but come on, I need some like wood burning stoves. I need some like different kinds of like different different kinds of fireplaces, ones that like are obnoxious and I have to like really recenter how I do builds. And also I like the aesthetic of having pipes through rooms. I've done Victorian houses in The Sims 4, which was awful. But I know other builders preferred The Sims 3, but I had so much trouble with trying to build in The Sims 3. But I think now I could probably do it, but it would just be too many problems, so many problems. But yeah, no, I was really trying to get like sort of the aesthetic, and I think something that makes this house a little bit different from like other houses is the fact that I put in a mudroom, which is fun. I basically kind of based it off of like it's a little bit of a fancier of a mudroom. Normally you put mudrooms in your front entrance and stuff like that, but I put the mud entrance on the back just because a lot of people don't really use their front doors, they use their side doors. Oh, what was I saying? Well, I wanted to have like the mudroom like look like a mudroom, but there's not a lot of things that make a mudroom in the Sims 4. Like, we don't have a lot of the things. For example, you know, you gotta have your giant freezer filled with frozen stuff that you bought at Costco, like, and you have to have, like, if you live quite up north, you gotta have your different kinds of like frozen meat and stuff like that, because hunting is big in the north. But well, not like as big as it is in the US, but like people do hunt, but in a more like conservationist kind of way. And also because you have to, because there's bears everywhere. Okay, random story. I'm gonna tell you about it because I want to. But I used to grow up like far up in the north, and like we're talking like the closest town was about like 40 minutes. That's how far out we lived. And now it's actually not that far. There's a lot of people who live out farther than cities, just because cities are very scattered in the north. But for me, it felt long, and I actually lived out farther. I think about like an hour and a half, 2 hours. The bus rides were fun to school. But particularly with this story is when I was really little, and this is before like I went to school and stuff like that. But there would be days, we'd call them, I guess, like bear days or something like that. And I don't really remember like the specifics of these things, but there were so many bears that we couldn't leave our houses. And so we would basically just get like the day off. We wouldn't have to go anywhere because there's bears. And like I remember like looking out the window and just seeing bears just kind of wandering through our like farm and stuff like that. And I don't know, I don't particularly miss bears, but I do kind of miss like wildlife, because I now live in the city, and well, like outside of a city, but bigger city. And you know, like I miss seeing like foxes. And I still remember one Easter there was a gathering of bunnies near our like farm, and or like our farmhouse, I mean, and or barn is the word that I'm looking for. But yeah, and I remember being like so mesmerized, and I remember seeing like foxes and stuff like that. And yeah, those were the good old days. Now I just see deer like everywhere. There's deer everywhere. Apparently there's actually like coyotes near my house, or like some type of aggressive wolf type animal, which concerns me. But I haven't seen one yet, which I think is a good thing. I've seen a lot of like actually like barn cats, which are crazy because there's like no barns necessarily near my house. So I don't know where these barn cats are coming from, but surely they are going on an adventure. So, but a lot has happened since I was talking. I kind of just did like the mudroom, like I said, and it's a fancier mudroom simply because of the fact that there's like a seat in there, and you've got like cool little like decor. But usually when I think of a mudroom, I think of like my old family's like mudroom, and how it was like kind of just filled with junk. And there was like coats everywhere, and that's where we had like our giant freezer. And there is no giant freezer in the game, and I thought it would be funny to put like a giant freezer in, but there's no giant freezer, so I put in like a book stand instead to make it seem more cluttered. And you know, you gotta have all the stuff, and I'm throwing in just like little details here, and I did a little bit of a backyard. I put in a little bit of a pool, which is a bit fancier. Most people have like above ground pools, but unless you live in the city, then you can have like your ground pools or whatever you call them. But most people that I know who live in the country don't have like in-ground pools. They usually have, mostly because that means you have to level the ground, and that's annoying. So, but yeah, so right now I'm just kind of doing the layout of the upstairs. I decided to do a nursery, which I thought would be cute, and I have 2 bathrooms. There's actually a lot of bathrooms. There's 3 bathrooms in this house, and I think what makes this house even better is the fact that because it is such a standard farmhouse, it's great for additions. So you don't really have to like play around too much with the front, and you can just expand off of the back. So like, I know it's like I have downloaded builds in the past, like not builds, but like houses and people's builds in the past, and it's always really hard because when you want to expand, you can't, because you're kind of fiddling with someone else's ideas. And I always with my builds, I always think of like the player in mind, although sometimes I go a little bit crazy and I don't, there are problems, but but I usually try to fix them. If I don't, like for example, I haven't play tested this one, and I probably won't, but mostly because I know it's fine. It shouldn't be too much of a problem. But yeah, I thought this was like a super cute little house, and I think it's great as like a starter, although it is not a starter price. I think it's about like 60,000 or something like that. But anyways, we're actually nearing the end here, so I gotta say my whole hoopla for you guys. So if you liked this video, feel free to leave a like below. If you like my channel, feel free to subscribe to it and check out my other videos, because I do a ton of builds, and I'm hoping in the future to do a let's play, which would be fun, and I would love for you guys to give suggestions and comments and stuff like that. And as I always say, feel free to leave some feedback in the comments below. I like hearing your guys' comments and your thoughts and stuff like that. And if you have any suggestions for builds in the future, feel free, like I said, just to leave it in the comments below, because I love the challenge, and sometimes you guys come up with like crazy ideas that I can't even think of, and it's always nice to like kind of feed off of other people and like paste things back and forth. But yeah, and I've also got a Twitter, so if I don't respond on here on YouTube and you want to contact me more quickly, I do have a Twitter, and I do have a Sims Amino, I do have an Instagram and a Tumblr, and all of that is in the description box below. But yeah. So I'm just doing some of the final details and putting seating on the outside there. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this build, and I hope you guys want to check out some of my other builds. I'm doing a lot of things in advance right now. But yeah, I hope you guys definitely enjoyed it. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day. So see you guys later, everyone.